Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Hi, Team Healthy. Welcome to our next episode of Unbound. This is the series where I respond to the questions and comments that you bring up. And so this allows me to kind of talk into some things in a very specific way that you all are dealing with. And I appreciate you sending in your questions. If you have some that you want to do so, put them in the comment section and I'll pick up on them. Okay, today I want us to focus on one really common question that narcissists will either speak or imply that's probably... I could say it's one of my least favorite questions in the world because it's such a dumb question. You'll never get a straight answer to it. But also, it's a toxic question. And that simply is, what's wrong with you? Now, the narcissist may point blank say those very words to you. What's wrong with you? Or if they don't actually say the words out loud, the implication is there. You keep doing things in ways that aren't supposed to be right, and they keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you with this notion that says you need to be something completely other than what you are. It's toxic because you were given the personality that you have because, and that's the one you have to operate with. And for someone to come along and say, no, we have to completely rearrange things to suit me, there's something very pathological about that. So I want to go into two different kinds of questions here that we have and see if we can pick up on the toxicity here and how you're going to respond when what's wrong with you is either asked or implied. Now, the first question is, how do you stop feeling that you're wrong about being yourself? All right, what's wrong with you? My narcissistic mother made me feel like it's wrong to be me. Everything about me is just wrong. My opinions, my daily decisions, my likes and my dislikes, she's gone now, but the feelings and thoughts are still very much alive. And this illustrates the power that a strong narcissist can have in your life. Now, in this case, it's a mother. It could be a spouse that you're no longer with, or maybe that person's still in the same roof with you. It can be a sibling. It can be an extended family member, someone that you work with, a quote friend that you may have. There's something terribly toxic about that question, what's wrong with you? Now, I've jotted down just a half a dozen things here, and we could put a whole lot more in, but a half a dozen things here that illustrate the toxicity of that kind of approach. First, when somebody implies there's something dreadfully wrong about you and we need to change it all, number one, their needs always come first, rather than saying, what's unique about you? Or what is it about you that we can celebrate? It's like, no, this is about me, and you're not satisfying me. What are you going to do about that? A second thing, they constantly seek to control pretty much everything, and you're not free to be who you are. It's one thing to say I want to be organized and I want to have follow through and a certain amount of predictability. That's okay. But when you go into that control dimension, it's like, okay, there's a fixed agenda. Notice the word fixed. There is a certain way you're supposed to be. And they use a lot of imperative thinking and communicating. You'd better, you have to, you must, you're supposed to. They have to be in control down to absurdly minuscule decisions that you might make. And then on top of that, these individuals, what's wrong with you? Are just one step away toward being emotionally and verbally abusive. When they come at you with a real strong way and it becomes apparent that you're not quite catching on to their agenda, they're just going to double down on the strength of their agitation. And so many times in this person's case, her message was so strong that even when she's gone, it's like I'm still afraid of the anger that she brought towards me, the disapproval, the harshness, the meanness, the condescension. The anger that the narcissists have in this toxic state is not constructive at all. You know that I believe that there's a healthy form of anger where we can be assertive with one another. Their anger is anything but that. And then another aspect of their toxicity is they gravitate towards harsh and counterproductive punishment. Punishment is not the same as consequences necessarily. If you scream at me, the consequence is I'm going to remove myself. That's not a punishing attitude. Narcissists, though, it's like, no, if you come against me, you're going to pay for it. And it's going to be ugly and it's going to be bad. I mean, it can be absurd consequences or stipulations, whether it involves money or time spent or all sorts of denigrating and embarrassing kinds of things towards you. They're going to make sure that you squirm and you regret ever coming against them. And then a fifth thing that's part of their toxicity is they're jealous. They're jealous or envious, either one, of your independence. They're jealous. They're envious towards other individuals that you're attached to. It's like, no, I have to be the number one dog here. I have to be at the top of the heap. And then in addition, they're simply not going to be supportive of any kind of uniqueness or choices or aspirations that you have unless it's exactly what they want you to do. So that's the toxicity. So when they say, what's wrong with you? What they're saying is, I have to have your deference. I'm too insecure to allow you to be yourself. And I'm hoping that when you think, I want to be separate from them, I'm hoping you can see pushing that narcissist is a very insecure, inept kind of an individual. It's their way of saying, I don't know how to manage things when just even a little small complexity shows up. It's their ineptitude. Do you want to allow somebody who's that emotionally and psychologically inept to be the one in charge of who you are? Now let's take another one here. This person says, looking back, I was never comfortable with my father's strict values. He was both strongly religious and strongly racist. All right, let's pause on that one. One cancels out the other. And if you're strongly religious, you know that in my mind, a spiritually mature person is someone that says, well, first and foremost, it's about love. How might I learn how to inject love? Well, that means you're not going to be a racist for sure. So you've got this contradiction going on inside, and I suspect there are plenty of other contradictory messages that this father came along with. Okay, this person goes on and says, at the same time, I never felt confident to stand up to him. He died when I was 47, and I wish I could have told him how hurtful and insulting he had been, but I always chickened out. What is it that makes a person like him have so much power over someone like me? And again, we go back to that toxicity. If you disagree, what's wrong with you? You're just not being the kind of person you need to be. When you ask, well, why is it that I have such a hard time standing up to that person? Well, first and foremost, I'm sure that your experience has told you the anger is going to be ugly. And the narcissist has that ongoing mantra that says, you're going to regret the day that you ever came against me. They want to make it as difficult as possible for you to be uniquely you. And then on top of that, you probably have a deep history of not knowing how to establish and maintain relationship boundaries. Because one of the things we know about narcissists is they blur boundaries. They don't recognize your distinctions and your uniqueness. It's like they'll just step all over that. So let's go into that space. You have these two different individuals where the toxic message is there's something dreadfully wrong about you, and you want to stand up to that. You want to go into a different kind of direction. The thing that I'm hoping you can do, and this is an enormous theme that I have on my channel here, and that is, how do you define a healthy you? I didn't say, how does your mother, or how does your spouse, or how does your Aunt Matilda, or how does your boss define healthy living? How do you define a healthy life? And I would encourage you to write it down And I would have people in my office sometimes, and I'd say, make a list of the top characteristics that you want to have dominate your personality, that you believe in and that you want to be known for. And when we do that, it's like, I don't want the list to be like 3 or 4. I want you to come up with at least 20 characteristics and preferences and priorities. How do you find yourself? Write it down and keep going back to that. And then a second question is, do I have to have that narcissist's approval in order for me to maintain my separateness and my independence? It would certainly be nice, but keep in mind, these are pathological people. They don't know how to love. They don't know how to encourage. They don't know how to say, way to go, atta girl. What's wrong with you? That's their primary driver. And so they have eliminated themselves from the position of saying they're going to be a mentor, they're going to be an exemplar, because they don't know how. They're too self-serving. And so do you have to have that kind of person's approval? And my answer is no. Look at how unhealthy they are. And then on top of that, then you want to ask yourself, well, how am I going to manage myself when the predictable blowback occurs, when they repeatedly let me know this is not good, I'm going to harm you, this is not going to end well? Do I have to defend myself? Do I even have to stay connected to a person like that? Do I need to give my deference? And so I'm hoping that you're going to be able to have a sense that says, I'm done making excuses. Being me is an excellent idea. And if that person comes along and says, well, you need to prove that you're okay and you need to prove that you're better than what I think you are right now, my response is, no, I don't. And I'm hoping there can be a mindset that says, again, I'm removing you from the place of influence in my life. You're not allowed to tell me who I need to be. So, and I know this is a very brief kind of a description. That's why I put together courses like This Is Me, the course on boundaries. And that's why I strongly encourage you to continue in the learning process. It's an ongoing thing. This is not going to happen overnight. But when someone says or implies, what's wrong with you? The answer is, I guess I'm in your presence. That's what's wrong. And I can do something about that. Practice self-care. And by all means, vote yes for who you are. That's what boundaries ultimately lead you to. It's more than saying no to the narcissist. It's saying yes to yourself. I hope that videos like this can give you some good awareness of what you might be dealing with. Thank you to the people that wrote these questions and comments in. If you have some, like I said, please feel free to do so. Put them in the comments section. Now, you all know that I am a huge proponent of therapy. And obviously, when you're dealing with something like this, it can be so helpful for you to work with a therapist who can walk you through some of the process here. I'm giving a broad outline, and in therapy, you can break it down into very specific details. We have a link below to our folks at betterhelp.com. Please, as the need is there, go through the link, get the assistance that you would need. You'll be glad for it, and I'm hoping that it's something that will pay lifelong dividends for you. Now, in addition, I invite you to go to my website. It's enormous. It's got a lot of resources on there. I have lots of quizzes and articles that are on there, my webinars, which are 90-minute PowerPoint presentations. I mentioned that I have my online courses. They're very extensive. Each one has at least 25 teaching videos. I have a deep history in presenting seminars, etc. For example, we have anger games, how to manage anger properly. This is me about boundaries. Free to be, finding yourself despite their attempts to control you, and then Ready, Set, Connect, how to have healthy connection skills. Avail yourself to that along with my book. So we have lots of resources on there. What's wrong with you? That is one of the dumbest questions, because you're never going to get a good answer. And so it's like, you don't even have to respond to that. Instead, it's like, well, what's unique about me? What is it about me that I want to lean into? Anchor down on that. And as you do, I'm hoping you can have more and more internal confidence that says it's not just okay for me to be me, it's necessary for me to be me. And in doing so, I'm hoping you can find personal steadiness, and ultimately you can find your place of peace.